Yes guys, welcome to a brand new video. My name is Conan and today we're going to be going over my entire push workout. So let's get into it. Now, before we do get into it though, just to give you guys some context on why I'm training here in my home gym, it's actually because I have to self-isolate because I had COVID, which is quite unfortunate because I'm literally self-isolating for 10 days now. I can't leave my house. I'm basically just stranded here, which again kind of sucks, but I am very fortunate to still have my home gym from the first quarantine back in March of 2020. So yeah, again, I'm very grateful that I still have my home gym from back then, because I was honestly planning on selling a couple things because I thought, oh, we're back to normal now. But yeah, considering that this whole COVID thing is still all up in the air, and considering that I did get it, yeah, it's good that I kept my home gym. And don't worry guys, I feel completely fine. Most of my symptoms are gone, so I feel really good. I'm ready to train. So now let's get into the workout. Oh, one last thing before we get into the workout is that this is actually going to be episode 1 of a 3-part series I'll be doing on my channel, basically going over my entire workout split. So as you guys know, right after my show in July, I switched to an upper-lower split. Been running that for a couple months, and now we're back to a push-pull leg split. So that's basically my new workout split. Exercises kind of stayed the same, it's just a different split. Volume, intensity, stuff like that all stayed relatively the same. I just kind of got bored of the upper-lower split, so yeah, keeping the same exercises mostly, but just kind of changed the split. And now for those of you who are curious what type of split you should follow, for most people I think you should train your muscle group at least 2 times per week. So it doesn't really matter what type of split you do. It could be an upper-lower split 4 times a week, it could be a push-pull leg splits 6 times a week, it could be a chest and back, shoulders and arms, and leg split. There's so many different splits out there, and you can get really creative as long as you hit your muscle group at least 2 times per week. And now when it comes to the whole progression and intensity thing, this is week 1 of my new mesocycle. So ideally, whenever you start a new mesocycle, which is basically just a training block, always start with the least amount of volume you can do while still making gains, and then slowly as the weeks go on, ramp up your volume as needed. So ideally, start at your minimum effective volume, or MEV, and then as the weeks go on, you want to get up to your maximum recoverable volume, or MRV, and then once you've hit that, you'll most likely plateau in everything you do. You'll take a deload and then you repeat the process. So we're not going to get into the whole mesocycle scheme thing. We're basically just going to get into the exercises of my new workout program. So I'm going to shut up now. Actually, I'm going to keep talking, but we actually are going to get into the whole workout aspect of things. So let's get into it. So this is the first push workout we'll do in a week, and again, we're doing 2 push workouts in a week. So again, this is the first one. Today we're focusing a bit more on our chest. So we started off the workout with the king of all chest exercises, the bench press. I think this should be a staple in everyone's routine. I know a lot of advanced trainees have some niggling injuries within their shoulder, so for those of you who find the bench press a bit uncomfortable, you can definitely substitute this for like a machine type of press or a dumbbell press. Just make sure it's some type of pressing movement that targets your chest. So for me, I'm doing the bench press, and also because I'm training here at home, I'm limited to the amount of equipment I have. So the bench press is just like the most basic chest exercise you can do. So we started off with this exercise doing 3 sets of 8 reps. After that's done, we moved on to the shoulders. So right here we're doing the seated Arnold press. And now if you do have access to a machine, you can definitely substitute this for like a seated machine press. But if you're like me and you're limited to the amount of equipment you have, you can definitely do the seated Arnold press. I really like the Arnold press because you get such a full stretch on the delts here, and then a full range of motion as well. So yeah, I do prefer this over the normal seated dumbbell press because again, the range of motion and the stretch on the delts you get is absolutely insane. And again, because I don't have that much weight to work with, this is great because you really don't have to go super heavy in order to get a really good stimulus. So again, if you are limited to the amount of weight or to the amount of equipment you have, these are great. Then we moved on to some body weight dips. Again, these are great for the pecs and also for the triceps. The stretch on these is absolutely insane, and I definitely recommend incorporating these into your routine as well. The aim here is to really focus on our mind-muscle connection. So I have noticed that if I do weighted dips, especially with very heavy weight, my form pretty much just goes out the window. So again, because I'm limited, I just did them body weight and went for pretty high reps here. So we aim for about 12 to 15 reps here. And again, the main priority here is to really focus on that mind-muscle connection, really focus on getting a full stretch on the pecs and then squeezing at the top. Then for a bit more tricep action, we did the barbell skull crusher. These are absolutely insane. It targets the long head of your tricep, which is like the biggest part of your tricep. Any overhead movements really target the long head of your tricep, which should be your main priority if you want to get bigger triceps, because again, it is the biggest part of your tricep. So notice how I'm getting a full stretch behind my head here, and I'm getting a full extension as well. So I really do enjoy these. The stretch in them is pretty insane. Afterwards, to really hammer the shoulders, we did some seated dumbbell lateral raises. I prefer prefer doing them seated because it basically stops you from using any momentum and swinging. And I've noticed that a lot of people, including myself, tend to swing and use momentum, especially when it gets harder. So I really encourage you guys to really just nail down your form, not just with this exercise, but with like all exercises. You should always prioritize your form, because if you think about it, if you start cheating and using momentum towards the end, how do you keep track of that? Like, you really can't keep track of that. If one week you said, okay, so this week I used the 15-pound dumbbells and did 3 sets of 15 reps, but I did swing and cheat towards the end of it. I mean, unless you actually write down, okay, so on the last 5 reps, I cheated and I swung. I mean, unless you do that, it's really hard to keep track of your progress. So again, with all exercises, try to keep your form as strict as you can, just so you can keep track of it and actually know if you're progressing or not. Because if one week you're cheating like crazy, but then the next week your form is super insane, but you got less reps, it may look like you haven't made any progress, but you actually have, because you've improved your form. So the biggest takeaway from this is to make sure your form is on point. So again, we did about 10 to 20 reps here. The rep range is pretty broad, because especially when it comes to the smaller muscle groups, including your side delts, it's very hard to go up in weight. So for example, if you're using the 15-pound dumbbells one week, and then next week you try to do the 20-pound dumbbells, that's a pretty big jump in weight. So instead of constantly adding more weight, try to increase your sets and reps, especially when it comes to the lateral raises. And then the last exercise for today's push workout were some tricep kickbacks. And now in an ideal world, I like to use cables for these, because with the dumbbell, you kind of lose tension at the bottom of the movement, whereas the cables provide constant tension throughout the entire movement. So if you do have access to a gym, or you happen to have access to a cable machine, I definitely using the cable machine for the tricep kickbacks instead of the dumbbells. Alright, so that's the entire push workouts number 1. Now we're moving on to push workout number 2. Now ideally, you want to rest and recover anywhere from about 2 to 3 days in between these workouts. So super simple example, do this push workout number 1 on a Monday, rest a couple days, and then come back and do push workout number 2 on a Thursday. So this workout primarily focuses a bit more on the shoulders. So we started off with the overhead press. These are a great compound lift for the shoulders. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning of today's video, do not try to use momentum or swing with these. Try to keep your form as strict as you can. So a couple cues here, try to squeeze your glutes as hard as you can and keep your core nice and tight. This basically ensures that you have a nice and stable base to push off of. So we're doing about 3 to 4 sets of 5 to 10 reps here. Then we did the close grip bench press. These are absolutely insane for the triceps and also great for the chest. You'll notice that this isn't really an isolation exercise for the triceps, although it does emphasize a bit more triceps than the regular bench press. You definitely feel a bit of your chest here and a bit of your front delts as well. Next up, we did some flat dumbbell flies. And just like the tricep kickbacks from the previous workout, if you have access to either cables or machine, I definitely do recommend using that instead of the dumbbells for this fly exercise, because you'll notice at the top of the movement, when you squeeze your pecs, you kind of lose tension there unless your mind-muscle connection is absolutely insane. Most beginners don't have that mind-muscle connection yet, so especially if you are a beginner, I do recommend using a cable or a machine for the chest fly. If you're more advanced, however, and your mind-muscle connection is insane with your chest, you can definitely get away with using the dumbbells. But again, for most people, I do recommend using either a machine or cables, because with the machine or cables, the tension does not leave at all. Like, there's constant tension at all times, especially at the top range of the movement when you squeeze your chest, which is really, really good. So yeah, again, if you do have access to that, definitely do that. If you're not, however, and you want to switch things up, you can definitely use the dumbbells as well. And again, because I am limited to the amount of equipment I have, we are doing, again, the skull crushers. However, this time, instead of using the barbell, we're using the dumbbells. So it's a slightly different grip, but ultimately it targets the same part of the tricep, the long head, which again is the biggest part of your tricep. So we're going a bit higher in reps here, aiming for about 12 to 15 reps of 3 sets. And again, like I mentioned a couple seconds ago, because we don't have that much access to different machines and different exercises, we stick to the exact same exercise we did in push workout number 1, which is the seated dumbbell lateral raise. I think lateral raises are absolutely key to getting bigger shoulders, because most people don't have a hard time developing the front delt, which again involves any pushing movements, especially when it comes to chest pressing movements. Your front delt is very much involved. However, when it comes to the side delt, you don't really get that much volume, so I definitely do recommend hammering your side delts as much as you can. So again, seated dumbbell lateral raises. You can do them standing up as well, but then again, I do notice that when you do them standing up, most people do tend to use a bit more momentum and swing a lot more. You can also try to do them with cables, such as Egyptian lateral raises, which again, all cables provide constant tension throughout the entire range of the movement. So that's an absolutely ideal exercise for the side delts. Alrighty, now to finish off the workout, we did 2 sets of some deficit push-ups. By the end of this workout, your chest, shoulders, and triceps should be absolutely fried. So even though push-ups do sound like they're pretty easy, towards the end of your push workout, I mean, they're not that easy anymore, especially when you do them with a slight deficit. The stretch you get on these is absolutely insane, and we pretty much go until failure here. So do them until you pretty much can't move anymore. But then again, because we're only 2 sets, it shouldn't be too bad. And that's basically gonna wrap up episode 1 of this new series where I'll be going over my entire new workout split. So again, this was our entire push workout. I showed you guys my push workout number 1, which ideally you do on a Monday, and then push workout number 2, which again, ideally you do a couple days later on a Thursday. So definitely stay tuned for the next episode where I'll be showing you guys my entire pull workout, and then after that I'll show you guys my entire leg routine. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to go give this video a thumbs up. I would highly appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.